Okay, so on this question, it says the average amount of money that people spend at Dawn is supposed to be McDonald's, but they're trying to be cute there. Whoever made this question. Fast food place is $6.50 with standard deviation, $1.75. 45 customers random selected, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, okay, you know what we always do here, right? We always put the mean. And normally we put standard deviation, but this one's going to be standard deviation divided by the square root of the group size. Why? Because X bar means the average of a group, doesn't it? Whenever they give you X bar, they want the normal distribution for a group. X bar means group. X bar with the bar over it. I kind of made a big crazy bar there. The bar over the X means the average of a group. So what's the mean here? Well, the average is $6.50. On average, people spend $6.50. This is an older problem. I think people probably spend more than $6.50 at McDonald's on average. All right, and then standard deviation, it's going to $1.75, but it's not just $1.75. That would be if we're just talking about one person. But we're talking about for the group average, you have to divide by the square root of the group size, which is 45. Does that make sense? That's what's different. That's what's different in this chapter from the last chapter, is if you're talking about a group, X bar means the average of a group. Talking about a group, you can't just put the standard deviation. You got to divide by the square root of the group size. So literally hit these buttons on your calculator. And how you get that root is you hit second and the X squared button on your calculator. It has the root above it. So that'll put the root and then the 45. And so I'll do that too. And what am I getting? 1.75 divided by square root of 45. I'm getting, and it wants you to round 2 decimal places, so 0.26 for that answer. So that's what's different. That's the only thing that's different about this chapter. Now, all the formulas and all the percentages are all the same, but standard deviation, when you're talking about a group instead of an individual, you've got to divide by the square root of the group size. All right, let's go to the next one. For 45 customers, find the probability that their average spend is less than $5. Okay, so let me draw a little bell curve here, like we always do, and put the middle on the middle. And that's $6.50 is the middle. Average customer spends $6.50 at McDonald's. Less than 5. Well, here's $5. And less, where's lesser stuff? To the left, huh? So there's less. If they said more, I would go to the right. They said less, I'm going left. And what goes to the left forever? Negative with 5 nines, huh? Because that's really negative infinity. You with me? So whenever the shading goes left forever, because they said less or smaller, then you're going to go to negative 9s forever. If the shading ever goes right forever, then that's positive infinity or positive 5 nines is the right forever shading. Okay, so then what we're going to, if you go to the exam notes, they're saying find the probability. They're asking for a percentage. So what do you always do when they ask for a percentage? You do second vars normal CDF. Normal CDF, okay? And then it's going to be lower, upper, mu, and sigma. Now the lower is going to be that left side, negative 5 nines. So you have that negative there. And make sure you use the right negative, right? It's the one with the parentheses. That's the negative. That's not the subtraction symbol. It gets upset when you mix those around. It's very touchy about all that. And then 5.00 or just 5, either one, is the upper. That's the left side and the right side of the piece of shade. So this piece of shading here, the left side is negative infinity, negative 5 nines. The right side of it is $5. The mu, the middle is the 650. That's the average. That's the mean, as you know. And then what do I do for the standard deviation? Well, are we talking about a group here? Yes, it's for the 45 customers. That's a group. That's a group question. It didn't say for one customer. If it said for one customer, then I would just put the standard deviation, which is 1.75, right? But we're talking about a group, so I got to divide by the square root of 45. You with me on that? It's a group. So you have to go standard deviation divided by the square root of the group because we have a group. So type that in. I'll type it in on my calculator. And it might be good for me to actually show this one. Let me actually show it on my calculator. Switch things up here. Where is it? Yeah, emulator. There it is. There's my calculator. You press history right over here. Clear it out. Clear it out. Okay, so I hit second vars. Go down to normal CDF. Hit enter. Okay, lower bound, what was my -5.9? So hit the negative at the bottom with the parentheses around it. That's the negative, different than the subtraction, right? Subtraction is between two numbers. Negative is on one number, in the front of one number. And then 5, I'm just going to put in 5. You don't have to put in 5.8, just put in 5, same thing. The mean is 6.5. You don't have to put that O at the back. Put it in if you want. It doesn't matter. And now, here we go. 1.75. I'm doing the standard deviation, but I can't stop there. Divided by, say I hit the divide. You see right here what I'm doing? Divided by, then I hit second square root, right? So it does the square root symbol. And then the group size, what is it? 45. You don't even need to do the closing parentheses, by the way. You just skip it. You don't need to ever put on closing parentheses, at least if there's nothing that comes after it. You can just be done. Hit enter, enter, enter 3 times. Oh yeah, we got that E thing. That's really valuable that I remind you what that means. See that answer I'm getting on my screen there? 4.47847 E minus 9. Do you know what that means? That E minus 9 means take the decimal, move it 9 places to the left. If that was an E positive 9, it would mean move the decimal 5 places to the right. So the E stands for exponent, scientific notation. I won't get into all that, but it just means move the decimal. So if it's positive 9, that's right 9. If it's negative 9, that's left 9. So whatever comes after the E, it's telling you to move the decimal that many places, positive to the right, negative to the left. So let me write that down, and then we'll do that in particular. I'm getting 4.47847 E minus 9. Now this is going to come up throughout the course. Lots of times in the course, our TI calculator is going to give us these E-type answers. So you're going to need to know how to deal with that. It will come up, and it could come up on an exam. And you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do with this? So you do need to know. I'm trying to make that clear right here, right now. So let me jump back to my iPad screen. There we go. Okay, so I wrote it down. Here's the answer we got. So what do you do with that answer? In fact, I should have written it right up here. 4.47847. Well, no, let me leave it here. E minus 9. That means decimal 9 places left. Negative is left, positive is right. So 9 places left. So 1, and you're to the edge of the number, and then 8 zeros. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's where it ends up. Do you see what? See, that's 9 movements, huh? 1, and you're to the edge of the number, and then 8 more is 9 places. Tracking with me? So what's our actual number? Well, it ends up 0.8 zeros, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros, and then 4, 7. No, 4, 4, 7. No, I'm getting lost here. 4, 4, 7, 4, 4, 7, 8, 4, 7. Now I'm supposed to round it though, right? Yeah, round all answers to 2 decimal places. Are you kidding me? 2 decimal places. So if you go right here at 2 decimal places, 0.00 with a bunch of other zeros, what's it going to be? 0. It's just 0, right? How do you round 0, 0, 0? 0, 0, 0, 0. 0. It's right. So it's the answer equals 0. So in other words, the probability is nothing. There's a 0 chance of that. Does that make sense? Now, it might make you type in 0.00. I don't think so, though. Just type in 0. Yeah, no, it'll take plain 0. I don't know. Maybe it is picked. I don't know. I don't think so. Type in a plain 0. It'll be fine. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with it. Type in a plain 0. I'll go make sure it's fine. I'll fix it and make sure it's fine. 0. Let's type in a plain 0. All right, now for part C, what is the probability that one randomly selected customer will spend less than $5? Ah, that's almost the same question. Do you see that? Look at B and C. The only difference is 45 customers in B, probability they'll spend less than $5. Part C, one individual customer. You see the difference? Let me come down here. So for part C, I'll bring it down here. So for part C, one person spend less than $5. One person spend less than $5. What's the chance of that? So see how it's one person, not a group of 45 or whatever. Whereas part B was 45 people, it was a group. They're both less than $5. They're both going to have the same kind of bell curve, right? Where you do the bell curve, you put the middle, which was $6.50. You put the $5 right over here. Less than is to the left. That's all the same. No difference there. Unless you go left forever, that's negative 5 nines. It's all the same. And so we go to second, vars and inverse. No, not inverse. Normal CDF. Normal CDF. And we're going to go lower and upper and mu and sigma. The lower is still the, the negative 5 nines, because that's the left edge. The upper is the right edge. And then the mu, that's the mean, which is 6.5. Now, what about the sigma? That's just simply 1.75. No dividing by the square root of the group, because it's one person, not a group. Do you see the difference? It's one person, not a group. That's what they're trying to make clear. Are we talking about one person or are we talking about a group? One person or a group. So this is one person. I'm going to type the buttons into my calculator here. And so you just do the same thing we did last time. So but we're going to get a very different answer. This time, I get the answer. Here's what I got. 0.19568, round to 4 places. Move this over. 0.1957. 0.1957. So the answer is 0.1957. So very different answer. The last answer was 0. So for a group versus an individual, that's the difference here. That's what this chapter is all about. That's what you're going to have to watch out for on the second exam we take coming up, which we're basically ready for. This is the last chapter before we take our second exam. Pay attention to that on the exam. Always be watching. Are we talking about a group of people? Or are we talking about one person? If it's one person, then you just put in the standard deviation like normal. No need to divide by the square root of the group size because there is no group. It's one person. But if it's a group like 45, when you put in the standard deviation, you got to divide by the square root of the group. Otherwise, everything else is the same. The only difference is the standard deviation. If for a group is divided by the square root of the group size. No other difference. Now, on some of these questions on this quiz, let me just add to it and just do it all right here. You can have Q1, Q2, Q3, right? Some of the other ones, I'll just look at some of the other varieties here, make sure I cover everything. Yeah, you're going to have some that talk about, let me see, let me make sure I cover it. What's your Q1, Q2, Q3? Yeah, like right there.
Mr. Aaron, what about the one that the percentile? Is that the same kind of when you're talking about?
Yeah, I can do that one too. I'll do that one too.
Wait, I have one more question on the same one. You don't have it on here, but this on mine, it says it don't give a group number and I think it don't give a SD, it just says, suppose that you form random samples with size 4 from this distribution.
Size 4 is your group size.
Okay, and then it says, let X bar be the random variable of averages. Let EX be the random, so where would be my standard deviation? If the group
didn't they say
4,
standard deviation?
It doesn't read it again? It says, suppose that it says X, the N, which is the mean, it's 30.10. And then it says, suppose that you form random samples with sample size 4 from this distribution. Let X bar be the random variable of averages. Let EX be the random variables of sums. Round out answers to 2 decimal places.
Right. What did it say the X bar was? It said X bar, right in the beginning? X bar, did it have like X bar in parentheses with 2 numbers?
Yeah, it's 30,10.
Yeah, that's your mean and your standard.
Oh, yeah. The division. Oh, because a comma, it makes it. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, no, that's actually a little bit tricky. Let me make sure I've covered that. Let me double check. I think that's right. Let me double check. So it actually said it that way right in the beginning, huh?
Oh yeah, it is like that, Mr. Heron, because it even has a comma, the parentheses in between the 30. It's a parentheses and then a 30,10.
Oh yeah, like here we go. I found it. Like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Good job. Yeah. So this thing, thanks. That's helpful for everybody. Yeah. Let me write that in. Right here. Yeah. So this is your mean. Yeah. Good observation. Good question. This is your standard deviation right there. Yeah. And then it says sample size 4. So that's your group size. Group size 4. Yeah. And so notice right here. Here's the difference. This is a plain X, and see how this is an X bar. So this is one person, and this is a group average because it's X bar. So when we do the mean, the mean's the same, but the standard deviation here will be 10 divided by the square root of 4, which will actually come out to be 5.
Yeah, Mr. Herrick, could you just go over part C real quick, just to refresh in the mind, and then after this, I'm going to just get out. After.
Good idea.
On part C?
Yeah, so for part C, so 95th, and again, this is X bar, so that's again the group, that's the group average. So yeah, how do we find the 95th percentile? Well, that's a curve, a bell curve, and we'll put the middle on here. The middle is 30. Okay, yeah, so what does it mean if you're at the 95th percentile? Let me draw it up here. So 95th percentile up here. That's a ranking system from 0 to 100. 95th would be about right there. It means you're almost all the way to the right. Like if you had a brand new baby boy and they said he's a healthy baby boy, his weight is at the 95th percentile. That means, that means 95% of babies are lower weight than him. So that would be on the curve. That means the area to the left is 0.95, like that, to the left. And we want to find this spot right here that has 95% to the left. That's what a percentile means. It means percentage to the left, right? If your baby's 95 percentile weight, 95% of babies are lower weight than your baby. So 95% to the left. Okay, so remember, what do we do then? Well, they're giving us.
What is it?
Yeah, they're giving us a percentage. So it's inverse norm, yeah. Inverse norm, because so you got to do second vars, inverse norm, because they're giving us a percentage, the 0.95. And then we will do area. It's always area to the left. So area to the left will be the 0.95, because that is the area to the left. Don't forget the point, got to have that. And then the mu, the mean, that's 30. And then the sigma, what do we can do for the sigma? Well, the sigma up here, the standard deviation is 10, but we're talking about a group, huh? Group. So I've got to take the 10 and divide by the square root of 4 because it's a group like that. And so you got to put that into your calculator. And I'll do it too. And that's going to be 10. Wait, what is it? Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing here. I'm getting 38.22. Yes, mine came out 38.22. When I rounded it to 2 decimals, they want 2 decimal places on that one. Yeah,
Okay.
good. That's
Thank
a
you,
good
Mr.
question.
Have a good
Yeah,
day.
that's exactly. Yeah. And let me do one other thing for, let me show the Q3 on this one, and then we'll just be done there. So they're asking for the Q3. How did you, and you might have one that says Q1 or Q3 or both or whatever. Do you remember how to do Q3? So maybe I'll just stick in a page. I don't know where to put it. Right here. So Q3. So Q1 and Q3 are all on the normal curve. And right in the middle, of course, is the mean. Mine was 30. And then, yeah, so this would be like Q1. This would be like Q3. It basically breaks the whole thing up into quarters. There's 0.25 here, 0.25 here, 0.25 here, and 0.25 there. So if they ask you for Q3, for example, they want this spot right here. So that is, well, here, let me start with Q1. Maybe I better do Q1. What if they ask you for Q1? Well, they're giving us a percent. So if they give you a percent, you're going to do second vars inverse norm. Second vars inverse norm. And that'll ask you for what? Area to the left. Area to the left. And then mu and sigma. So what would be, so if you're at Q1, you're right here, you're at the end of the first quarter of a football game. What percentage of the football game is over, is left of you, is in your past? Well, 25%. So you got to go 0.25, don't forget the decimal. And then, this is the mean, which is 30. And then this, though, is going to be standard deviation divided by the square root of the group, because again, we're talking about a group. I'm doing a group Q1 here, just like an X bar, which means average of a group. So I'd have to take whatever my standard was, which I already forgot, 10 divided by the square root of 4. Like that. All right, type that in, you get your numbers. And then for Q3, it's almost the same thing. So for Q3, coming on down, Q3, it's going to still be inverse norm. And still inverse norm, area to the left, mu and sigma. Now, if you're at Q3, if you're right here at the end of the third quarter in a football game, what part of the game is in your past? What part of the game is already over? What part of the game is to your left? 0.75, right? End of the third quarter, you're 75% of the way through the game. The mu is still 30. The sigma, same thing, 10 divided by the square root of 4. And hit the buttons, and then you can get the Q3. And then if you get the Q1 and Q3, if they ask for the IQR, which they do on some of these questions, the IQR will just be Q3 answer minus the Q1 answer if they ask for that. And so I think that covers all the varieties. Let me double check here that are on this quiz. We covered that. Customers, right? Yep. And they gave this. Right, so always watch if they're talking about, again, here's 19 people, that's a group, versus one random person, that's an individual, right? And then this is for a group again. So you always got to pay attention whether they're talking about individual or group. They're trying to trick you on that. You got to be careful on that whenever they do that. And let me see, did we do that? And then, yeah, and then we did that. Yeah, we did that in the beginning too. So, yeah. So, and then, yeah, that's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Yeah. So there it is.